Welcome to the Scale Model Podcast. In this podcast, we aim to entertain, inform, and promote the hobby of scale model kit building with interviews, reviews, and news about the hobby. The podcast is available bi-weekly where your favorite podcasts are found. You can also get it from our website at scalemodelpodcast.com, where you can find show notes, photo gallery, and so much more. You can also subscribe to get notifications on all our updates, new episodes, and video content. Please support the Scale Model Podcast on Patreon. Patreon supporters enjoy early access to content and exclusive contests. Your Patreon support helps us to offset hosting and other costs to bring the podcast to you. Welcome to episode 157 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Cult TV Man and Sean's Custom Model Tools. Welcome to the Election Night Central. Oh, wait, that's another podcast. Sorry. We're actually recording this on the evening of the returns coming in for the Canadian elections on Monday, the 28th of April. But I am one of your hosts, Stuart Clark, and joined as well from his lakeside manor, where he has no drywalling today to do. Thank goodness. Mr. Geoff Highland, how are you, sir?
My body is healing from the drywalling experiences. It's been great. But yeah, my wife and I had decided that's it. We're done. We got to leave. I sliced my thumb with an X-Acto blade while I was cutting a drywall, and that was kind of like a message from God. Time to stop.
That's a sign. That is a sign for you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let me ask you one question, just one brief election thing. Were you able to vote in either place because you have a house in either
Yes.
riding?
I
You
can
just
only
had
vote
to
one
decide.
place, but
Right.
I have two locations. So
Okay.
we chose the riding that has the most egregious candidate that we want to vote against.
Good for you. Good for you. All right. And then also we have two American friends joining us tonight. Of course, our good friend, Mr. Terry Measley from west of Chicagoland. How are you, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. Doing okay?
All right, and we've got a
Yeah.
special guest tonight. Terry, I'll let you do the introductions because
Sure.
you're like our regular showrunner guest finder.
Well,
Mhm.
I have modeling friends and I rely on them heavily.
He has friends, Geoff. We got to
has
keep him
friends.
around.
I am shocked. Shocked, I say.
I know. Nobody loves me.
We
Um,
all love you, Terry.
guess I'll go eat worms. Brent Bristow is joining us tonight to talk about home vinyl cutting, silhouette cricket, that sort of thing. Brent's a hell of a modeler. He's done demos at Wonderfest for this stuff. I think last year was your first demo?
No, that was my third demo.
Oh, nice. I've
I've done three demos, and then I also assisted with one of the figure painting classes, one of the Friday classes.
okay. Great.
So
And Brent is also a saxophonist with the acclaimed prog rock band Emerald City Council.
Very cool.
Very
cool.
That's a tough word to say carefully. Saxophonist. I kind of thought it was
Saxophonist, yes.
saxophonist. Yes, I love it. That's really one. I've learned something new today. That's
So what
good.
kind of sax do you play?
oh well, I depends upon what time you catch me, but I play soprano, alto, and tenor mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I occasionally play Barry if I have a client that wants me to record something, but usually I have friends around that are, more into that and better Barry players than I am. But
Very cool.
and I actually just bought a new saxophone this week, my first one in since 2008. Actually,
Oh, wow.
Just got it in from Yamaha. They hooked me up with a very nice new model that they have, and very excited about it.
Very nice. I used to play
Yeah.
tenor sax in high school years ago, many moons ago.
Oh, you'd be almost the same quality as Brent then. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not even
He-
close. Not even close. All right. So welcome aboard, Brent. By all means, feel free to chime in with our news stories. You're a host here tonight, and we'll go from there. So we want to thank our Patreon and buy me a coffee supporters. Our good friend Peter Fay. He gave me some money at the last meeting.
Oh,
to
thanks,
support
Pete.
the
What
podcast.
is wrong with Peter? Good for
I
him.
don't know, but it was the swap night. He must have made some profit.
He must have. Either that or he's got something in the lottery. So good for
After
him.
all those
Good for
models
him.
you buy at Neo Tokyo.
Well, exactly. Hopefully
True.
that's it. Yeah, that's that's his way of payback, I guess. But thank you for that. We appreciate that for under the Buy Me a Coffee.
Well,
Our-
you have called him your crack dealer from time to time.
He is
So
he is my sci-fi crack dealer, and if I have questions and all that, I tend to go to him
yes.
with stuff like that. He's very dangerous that way. All right, let's get right into some of our subjects here. So we're going to start from the modeling news. TACOM's coming out with a couple of Shermans. The Super Sherman, and I just have to tell ad blocker to quit blocking ads. Thank you. The M1 Super Sherman and the M4 A1 kit. So first of all, the Super Sherman 1/35th scale photo etch, brass cable, clear parts, and a track jig included. So this is something the Israelis used from the 50s until the beginning of the 80s. I didn't realize they used it all the way up to the 80s. So this was known as the Sherman M50 and M51. It was also known in Israeli hands as the Isherman or Israeli Sherman. So there we go. So that was similar, basically an upgraded Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
Nice stowage too, eh?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
Look at
Looking
that.
at it. That's good.
Yep. So they have, just metal barrels,
Looks great.
choice of a gun shield,
Yeah, yeah.
etc.
Great name choice, the Gila Monster.
Yep. Lots of storage.
Mhm.
And then we have the M4A1, the 76 WHVSS. This was the first one on the late generation Sherman family, with wet ammunition stowage to lower the chance of an ammo rack detonation, and a modified T-23 turret holding the new 76 millimeter M1 gun with split loader hatches. So this was basically an upgrade to the original Sherman.
Hmm.
So they never saw combat in the Normandy campaign because of the lack of time for training before the operation commenced. However, following World War II, Israel would engage in significant action with this particular tank.
Hmm.
So again, metal barrel included, clear parts included, a lot of photo etch. 2 different track guard options are included with 3 different drive sprockets, 3 gun brackets, and a dust cover for the mantlet is also present. So, I think people's movable suspension, workable tracks, and a figure of a tanker manning the 50 cal is also included in this kit. So
And it's TACOM, so it's going to be pretty good.
it's gonna be a nice looking kit, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, trumpeter, early Apache, and the big bumblebee, as the Germans call it. We actually talked about the bumblebee, but we'll talk about the Apache first. This is a 1/35th AH-64A in 1/35th scale. So you two can make a diorama out of it.
Yeah, that's becoming more standard for the
Yep.
helicopters.
Yeah.
An absolute ton of decals. Have you seen all these stencils
Yeah.
and decals on this thing? 143 different decal types.
I mean, just don't step on it, right? Just don't step on it anywhere.
Right. More importantly, masks are on the kit.
Yep.
Includes
That's good.
mask, so 350 plus parts. Big kit, 311 millimeters in length. The rotor diameter is 330, so 30 centimeters wide. So,
Wow.
yep, raised rivets, recessed details, finely detailed cockpit, finely detailed rotors, photo etch parts included. The model build-up, the engine detail looks amazing. You can open
Does
up
look good.
You can open up the engines and a few other little parts. Avionics bay. This looks good.
Looks
Oh.
very good.
Okay, then we talked about this a couple of months ago. There's a release now. The German SD KFZ 165 Hummel, the late production one, 1/16th scale, gentlemen.
Oh,
It's going to be big. It's self-propelled howitzer, armed with a 15 centimeter 18-1 howitzer, provided indirect fire support and can keep pace with advancing tank formations. Saw action from 43 until the end of the war. A ton of color schemes. Looks like 5 different color schemes. Um, you
Good
know, very.
interior too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, it's pretty open, right? These
Hmm.
Yeah,
self-propelled ones, but it comes with the
yeah,
engine as well.
yeah.
Maybach 120 TRM petrol engine, 300 horsepower, enabling a maximum speed of 42 kilometers an hour on roads. And it can go 200 kilometers between filling up for gas.
Which was important.
Very important. These vehicles primarily supported Panzer divisions with a typical battery consisting of 6 Hummels and 1 ammunition carrier. The majority saw action on the Eastern Front. 1,400 parts. That'll
I,
keep.
I
That'll keep
do
someone
like
busy.
I do like the camo schemes that they've included. They look
Yep.
pretty interesting. It's not the usual kind of just blah.
Yep. No,
This is
bunch of
fun.
different ones they've supplied there. But
Hmm
1,400 parts. Well, with 1/16 scale, right?
Yep.
Plus
Yet
individual
more
tank.
1/16ths.
Yeah.
Yep. Individual track length. They'll soon be on sale through Trumpeter's distributor worldwide. All
Yes.
right. So Brent, you ever been interested in 1/16th armor?
No, not at all.
No, I don't
No,
blame you.
no, I
It's
have not.
too big, too big. All right, Hobby Boss. I agree with you there. Too big. Oversized monitor and a what if. So let's talk about HMS Lord Clive first, 1/350th scale. This was a series of monitors led by the Lord Clive, obviously, in 1915. She was named after the first Baron Robert Clive, the 7 Years' War British general who won the Battle of Plassey, becoming the British Viceroy of India. Her main gun was taken from a 12-inch front dreadnought Mark 8 type gun.
Yeah, I talked about this a few weeks ago,
Yep,
Yeah,
about this coming out. Yeah, that gun is fixed.
that's right. So you
Yeah.
fire it and the ship turns turtle and comes back up the other side if
Yeah,
they
I mean
designed
it,
it
it
right.
can, it can change elevation, but it's 90 degrees to
yep.
beam.
Yeah,
So in
amazing.
1918, she was equipped with that single 18-inch 460 millimeter cannon, although she only used it to fire 4 rounds in combat before the war ended. After the war, she was considered unnecessary and sold for scrap in 1927. But
Uh,
you can build it now and recreate all that fun.
That's
all that
right.
fun. Look at that.
20,
It,
29 centimeters in length.
it's definitely unusual. I mean, I
Yeah.
Hmm.
must admit, when we first saw this, it kind of sparked all of our interest.
Yep.
Yep. Big
Very,
whaleback monitor. I
very
love
That's
it.
cool.
just an odd looking ship, and that's kind of fun. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Then we have a paper Panzer, the German Flak Panzer V Osf A. So this was a German self-propelled anti-aircraft gun designed by Rheinmetall during World War II. It was designed to be armed with 3.7 millimeter Flak 341 guns and a fully enclosed rotating turret on the hull of a Panther medium tank. Also sci-fi-ish. I got to
Mm,
tell you, there's some
Yeah.
it's
sci-fi
just, I
potential there.
mean, yeah, it's a standard kind of anti-aircraft.
Yep.
Yeah. For proper sci-fi, that gun needs to be about 40 times bigger than it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, there was going to be no chassis available because of the strategic bombing offensive and the lack of raw materials. So,
Interesting.
yeah, there we go. In the end, only a wooden mock-up of the turret on a Panther chassis was ever built. 230 parts, photo etch parts included. So some CADs there showing some of the features. Turret looks cool.
Hmm.
Hmm
Yeah,
All
be
right.
good for someone to add to their paper Panzer collection. Okay, the company. Whoops, the company we always decide.
Well, we tried to figure out how to pronounce it.
Yeah, and then I just bounced all over the link. Kotari, the BF or Kotari, whatever. Tomato.
Chiatari.
The
Chiatari.
BF 109 K4 is now available for pre-order with a special bonus. If you order from them directly, you will get a poster, a print, and more importantly, it also says $109 US, due for release second quarter, so coming up. And
But it will unfortunately not be available in the United States.
directly because of the tariff uncertainty and all that.
Yeah.
But if you order it, so they're recommending, they posted a thing today to their Facebook page. They're recommending U.S. buyers purchase from New Zealand directly. If you purchase from them, you'll receive a beautiful Darrow leg box art print. Artwork still to be revealed, suitable for framing, and a printed exhaust free of charge. 3D printed exhaust. So this looks good. This is the first test shot build. So I'm sure there'll be the odd little corrections and things like that. The cockpit looks absolutely gorgeous. Not my aircraft personally, but I know a lot of people who like building 109s.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be every bit as good as
The
their
Spitfires.
previous releases. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly. So that looks kind of cool. But yeah, for those U.S. ones, they're not going to be available through U.S. distributors, I'm afraid. So I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of this, unfortunately, just with the uncertainty with
Yeah,
tariffs and stuff like that.
it's more of that than anything else, because I mean, how do you pull back a shipment that's halfway across the ocean when somebody's opinion or somebody's mood changes? So
Well, and this is because it's actually imported from China. It's cast in China, and that would be subject to that. So as they say, so if you want 1 or 3, your best option is to pre-order direct from us, and your order will be shipped direct to you from our warehouse here in New Zealand.
Yep.
There we go. So keep that in mind. All righty. What do we got next here? Oh yeah, I saw this.
Pretty amazing landing gear set for an F-18 and E-18G. That's amazing.
This is from a company called Eva Models. They're new. And they've developed 2 nice looking landing gear sets for Mung's 48 scale Super Hornet and Growler. One set has a retracted launch bar and one has an extended launch bar. And the detail, it includes metal shafts in appropriate spots. The details on these is absolutely gorgeous for 48 scale. You think you'd see that in 1/32. Just looking at the CAD renderings here, just absolutely gorgeous.
Just incredible.
Amazing what you can do now.
Yeah, it is. And there's even metal shafts for the wheels.
Yep.
And the brake discs are there too.
Yep.
It's really amazing.
Yep. Just absolutely, these CAD shots look absolutely gorgeous. Michelin aircraft tires.
Look, yeah, that's
Unbelievable.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and then they show the differences in the launch bar, if it's extended or not. So yeah, just absolutely gorgeous. That's like a kit in itself to paint up.
Oh my God. Just incredible.
Yep.
You'd really want to do that justice too.
Yep, definitely. Okay.
Beautiful.
Hasegawa, some May announcements from them coming out from their Japanese site. They've got another one of their 1/12 scale candy roulette machines,
vending machine types.
Yep. The Honda XLR Baja motorcycle, dirt bike from 1991. And some Nissans, some Toyotas, Toyota Celica from, I don't know what year that is.
Way back when?
Way back when, 70s or 80s.
Early
70s?
70s?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe mid Celica?
Yep.
Yeah.
How about a Nissan Fairlady, the Z32, 300ZX in 1/24 scale. And they got a 1/35 rough terrain crane. So the type of crane you'd see on a construction site or lifting things.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna have to pick one of those up.
Those are fun. That would be
The
fun.
Celica's a 1973.
And then they got chubby little robots too, which are kind of fun.
Chubby little robots are always fun, right?
I don't know what they're. Maybe they're probably not robots. They're probably a mecha.
Yeah, they're battle suits.
Yeah.
Battle suits, they kick your ass. They may look cute, but they'll kick your ass, Geoff.
Oh, kick my ass. They're fat little guys.
Fat little guys. All right. That's from Hasegawa. Last but not least in our main news item, new 1/350th offering from I Love Kit. The USS Stevens DD-479. It's on the way to the shops now.
Lovely box art.
Yep, named for Rear Admiral Thomas Holdep Stevens III. It's a Fletcher class destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was one of the first U.S. Navy destroyers to be built, destroyed the second torpedo launch tube in the third gun position, refurbished the rear super structure, and installed a water jet catapult behind the second chimney to recover seaplane equipment, including cranes. So slightly unique. So they concluded that aircraft-modified destroyers were not airworthy in severe sea conditions.
Duh.
So yeah, no kidding. But you got some nice looking CADs there, and I'm sure the aftermarket people will come out with more stuff for it.
And at 1/350th, that's not going to be huge.
No, I've got a Fletcher. I've got the Tamiya Fletcher, and it's not huge. So
that's the one that has like 16 tons of PE with it, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah, which we won't talk about.
No, best not.
3D printed stuff will be ordered for that, I think.
Yes.
Most definitely. All right. Let's turn our attention over to our good friends at ScaleMates. We'll see what's new there coming up here. So let's see here. I didn't ask you, Brent. What do you build? What's your favorite sort of subject?
Well, in recent years, I've done a lot of figures.
Okay.
Mostly sci-fi and horror stuff, but I do mostly sci-fi. I've done a lot of spaceships and sci-fi type cars and things like that.
All right.
Mostly been my area of interest.
Cool.
I've never done any military vehicles.
All right. We'll see if we see any sci-fi in our list here. What do we got here for April 28th? We've got a M2A1 Cannon Transport 8-inch gun, the M1, towed heavy gun, 1/35th scale. That'll be big. How about a snapping turtle?
What is this? What is that? I mean, I looked at it and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know which one this is either. There's a whole series of these little tiny stacked kits that they make models that are bigger than you possibly think could fit in there.
Yeah, no
Tortoise
kidding.
Series. Yeah,
But I don't know what the snapping turtle is.
Tortoise Turtle Series AT.
Maybe one of our listeners can enlighten us. Please and thank you. Scalemodelpodcast at gmail.com.
It looks like it's probably a mecha of some kind, but
right.
It did not look like a snapping turtle. So,
here's Trumpeter's Leopard. I think we talked about this 1/16th scale.
yeah, we did talk about that.
That's going to be a big one. There's the Stevens Alpha models, Ferrari 812 GTS and 124 scale from April 27th.
FJ1 Fury in 1/32nd scale.
Yeah, these are the digital files.
Yeah,
along with the flying pancake, and 1/18th for the Vought X5U. That'll be a big pancake.
That's a pancake and a half.
Right. All right. Moving on. Little Armory's Tomitech 1/12th scale. A young lady with a sniper rifle, looks like.
Yeah, and she looks so sweet.
Gun. And a
so
trench
sweet
gun.
And innocent. Yep.
Yeah, the one below her too, with the trench gun.
Perfect.
The guy with his patch and his trench gun, ready to kick some butt.
The next one, Evangelion Test Type 01. That kind of looks a little bit like that the kit that Johnny made in our club.
Yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah.
Or a variation from the same IP.
He had one of the Evangelions on that pyramid, right?
Yeah.
This is the Test Type 01, 20 centimeters AMK. Very cool. All right, what else we got here?
Model Factory Hero.
Yeah, you went right past that, Stu.
You can't go past the Model Factory Hero.
Aston Martin DB4 in 1/12 scale for Model Factory Hero.
The 1961 Le Mans.
SX Racing Stable. Look at that thing.
That's going to be a second mortgage.
Can I put you down for 2? Can paint one red?
Yeah, there you go.
I got to find out how much it is.
Paint one silver and stick a whole bunch of secret weapons on it, and you got yourself James Bond. There you go. So he was a DB5.
Here we go.
It was a DB5, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the first production run of this product has been sold out due to reservations. 105,
who had reservations?
I don't know. 105,000 yen though. So that's like over $1,000.
That's $1,000, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That is gorgeous though.
Sold out due to reservations. I can't have reservations about this kit. I'm sure it's fine.
Turn metal parts, wire wheels, multi-material photo etch, aluminum frame parts.
I kind of just want to see one of these kits one of these years.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know, eh?
yeah. This is like the new version of what the poster kits were when I was a kid. Like they
Yeah,
were
exactly.
aspirational.
Well, you remember at Heritage Con, we did see one there. We saw one in Golf GT colors.
Hmm.
They were asking just over $1,000. I'm surprised you didn't get that, Geoff. I really am.
Yeah, so totally shocked. I know.
You know,
Oh,
I'm sure Lynn would not have minded.
no, she would have killed me.
She would have
Would have
killed
been
you.
would have been a very simple funeral, right? Just toss me off the cliff into the lake, no
Yeah,
problem.
and there we go. Then Terry and I have to split your stash.
That'll
Yeah,
go over just as well.
Yeah,
actually she'd be really happy with that one.
yeah, she would. Here, take it, please.
Please remove these things.
Okay, another digital 3D file. Looks like an egg one. The Falkworth trifugal in an egg format on April 23rd.
An egg trifugal. Oh my God. Okay, that's fun.
All right. A Carl Dorman class frigate, 1/350th.
I saw that.
Yeah.
A
Resin kit.
BD5D. Wow.
From Aladdin Models, 1/24th.
124 scale from James Bond
Oh,
Octopussy.
that's what it's from. That's right.
Yeah. I have a 172nd scale model of this. It fits on my thumb, quite
Hmm.
literally.
Well, 1/24th might be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, a little bit. A
Yeah.
little bit.
How about Dishes for Figures, Volume 1, 1/12 scale?
Isn't that
If
a
only
great
they
idea?
were 1/16th, you could put
Yeah.
them with you.
You could use them.
What else do we have here? We have the EBRC Jaguar, 1/48 scale from Gasso line. The
Huh.
Several,
Gasoline.
yep, and the Griffin.
Nice.
And then Ashima
And then
has
Daisy and Donald Duck.
right from Ashima. How cool is that?
And
Okay.
a Soviet aircraft tug, Minsk 541 in 1/144th scale. Now that would go well with a couple of my 1/144 scale Soviet era bombers,
There
which
you
would
go.
be nice.
Yep. All right. I think we're getting close to where we were before. Da, 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 da.
More deck equipment.
Yep. Bandai Spirits has the Mandalorian Zen 1 Starfighter, 1/48th.
Yeah, that's nice.
Deck equipment, gun stuff, automatic grenade launcher from the Ukraine, 1/35th scale, Mark 19, AGS 17, a tow missile, and a Maxim machine gun, and an ATV quad bike with rider, all 1/35th scale. And then a bit further on, they've got an SPG-9 grenade launcher and other assorted goodies.
Yeah.
Look at the first item on April 16th.
You're way ahead of me. Ooh, look at that.
DET 250. This is some kind of a retro bulldozer of some kind
Yeah.
in a bright pinky salmony red. I love it.
Exactly.
This would look good in this could be sci-fi'd up to the yin yang for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Diesel electric.
Yep.
Nice.
And we'll finish up here with how about a 1/35th Russian 305 millimeter howitzer, model 1915. Can you imagine how big that's going to be in 1/35th?
That's a good
Look
size.
at the figure. Yeah, that's pretty
It
big.
doesn't, I mean, there's the figure. It's not that big.
Yeah, it's wide.
Yeah.
It's wide. It's got a big gun, a big shell. That would certainly not be fun if one of those shells hit your position. It'd be over
No.
quick. You wouldn't realize.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna get hit by something, I'd rather it was that than
Yeah.
something small.
Okay, so that's what's new at ScaleMates. Now we're going to pause for a word from our sponsor, our good friend at Cult TV Man. Here we go. Let's see what's new from our friends at Cult TV Man and CultTVManShop.com. We're going to start off with their having, of course, a happy May the 4th sale. This is, of course, the weekend of May the 4th. Special sale on all Star Wars products. All Bandai Star Wars kits are 10% off. All other Star Wars products are 15% off. Sale runs through Sunday, which, of course, is May the 4th. So may the 4th be with you. And they have an absolute ton of kits available, recently restocked. They've got the Stormtrooper 1/12 scale, the C-3PO, the Clone Trooper, the Rogue One Death Trooper, General Grievous from Revenge of the Sith, the Star Wars AT-AT 1/144 scale from Bandai, the Y-Wing 1/72 scale kit from Bandai, and the Millennium Falcon mini kit 1/350th scale. That was recently just brought in stock. That's a restock. Also restocks from JT Graphics, including the Refit Enterprise, the 1/350th scale, and replacement decals, the classic Bird of Prey replacement decals, sensor bands for the Refit Starship name and numbers for 1/1000 scale, Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters. There's some decals you can get there. Galaxy class decals for the 1/1400 scale of the Galaxy class, and Constitution class decals for the 1/650th kit. Also, what else do we have here? We have Paragraphics as a restock. Seaview, the TV version, the 1/128th photo etch detail, and the 1/128th interior decal set. They've also got the classic Starship 1/350th detail scale set 2, and with the detail set in hangar bay, and also the hangar bay mount. So lots of pretty cool things from our good friends at Cult TV Man for May the 4th weekend. And tell them the Scale Model Podcast sent you. Okay, let's get started with our special guest. So I understand, Brent, you also play around with vinyl, and I'm not talking records, right?
I do both, actually. So
there you go. There you go. Well, I think we're more interested in the modeling vinyl.
Well, exactly. Well, we're always looking for ways to do masking for painting, to get various effects and things like that. And a while back, some guys that I was used to be in a model club with, excuse me, they introduced me to some of the devices that are out there. What I actually have is a Silhouette Cameo 4, and I know that they have, the Cricket, which is made by a different company that basically does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what it does is you can connect it to your computer. You can either free draw something, you can download images from the internet, you can take a photo of something and put it in, and then run your vinyl through, and then end up cutting mask something like this. And
very cool.
So this can be used a couple of different ways. Of course, I don't know where the actual bat actually went, but you can either put the bat on there and paint around it, or if you want a negative, you can put this over it and paint it, whichever way. So whatever works, and you can scale it down to whatever size you want, make it bigger, make it larger. One of the cooler things that I really like about it too is that you can get this little device, or this little page that has these little dots on it. And what this allows you to do is you could take a decal sheet, lay it on here, take a picture of it with your phone. The software will look for these, automatically flatten it out.
Oh, cool.
Everything to scale. And then you can make mask of whatever is on your decal sheet. So that way, if you've got a decal sheet that's really old, that's just basic colors anyway, or if it's going to be around some weird surfaces, you're afraid it's going to tear or whatever, always, use it as a painting mask rather than using it as rather than trying to use the decal. So it just gives you a lot of options for things to do. One of the things that I really like to use it for doing figures, and even for vehicles too, is when you make a base of some kind and you want to, let's say that you make the Batmobile, or you make the Green Hornet car, or whatever, and you want to have a base, and on it you want to have the logo from it, or the name, or whatever, then you can snap a photo of that, or just download it offline or whatever, make a painting mask of it, put it on whatever base you're doing, shoot it with some paint, and now you have essentially a name tag, and it took you about 20 minutes to do, and it's not that difficult to do. So it's very helpful for being able to create a nameplate kind of effect for whatever you want, or cut out a little piece of styrene and make an actual nameplate if you want to attach it or have it setting up or whatever. So the options are really kind of limitless with what you can do with it. So it's a very neat thing. I discovered that in addition to, Chris, they make different kinds of vinyl. Like this is some that's made specifically for, the vinyl cutter, and this works really great. You do want to make sure they do make removable and permanent. You do want to make sure that you use the removable permanent.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Which, hey, that may be something that you want to do. Like maybe you're doing an airplane runway, and maybe you want to have permanent runway
Oh
spots
yeah.
on lawn
Yeah.
board. I mean, you could do that, and so you could do that. But I also found, and I have to admit that I haven't used these yet. If I can find where they went, I must have misplaced them. But Tamiya makes actually some sheets very much like this, so that are made specifically for this purpose. That is usable with the Cameo and with the Cricut that you can use, but it's actually made specifically for scale model use. So if you're a little leery, I haven't had any problems with the materials that they make for the Cameo, but if you're a little leery of it and you want to, use a name brand that is associated with models, then you can use
Mhm.
Tamiya as well.
Mhm.
I've used the Tamiya tape sheets for that, and the big advantage there is it's less stiff than the vinyl. So if you're going over a lot of curved areas, the Tamiya tape far outperforms. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's good.
never,
Yeah, I
I,
haven't used it myself yet.
I never realized that they have software that allows you to scan the decal sheets. It makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. How small can you go? Like in terms of like if you want to make a stencil of like a 1/72nd Spitfire serial number, can you get away with that?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay. Yeah, no, so no, you haven't done it that small, but you can go fairly small.
It,
So
it can
I've
go, yeah, it can go very small for
yeah,
sure.
at some point it'll tear up. It's just
Right.
too small.
Right. That's what I
I
figured.
have seen better results with some of the 3M vinyl, which is softer, I think. It's a little thicker though, so I'm not sure what
Right.
his settings are on that.
Right.
I'll
Um,
have to see if I can find that.
yeah, I can probably pull up a picture and show you.
And what
Uh,
sort of what you're looking at? What sort of pricing are these cutters?
if I remember correctly, when I bought mine, it came in a bundle that came with several things. It came with
Hmm.
several sheets. I got it off of Amazon at the time. It was about
Right.
400,
Okay.
like that. Of course, that's been several years ago. And as
Yeah.
you mentioned with the tariffs and things, who knows what it's going to be now? I haven't priced them in a while, but Um, I think it's kind of like with cars, they're always coming out with the new model.
Hmm.
So you can sort of catch like, the last model a little bit cheaper.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
if
you
you keep an
can look
eye
at that.
on like Woots, which is Amazon's clearance, that's where I got my Cameo 3 for cheap. There's none on there right now. But
Right.
yeah, you'll find it. In that demo, that little kit comes with all the stuff, which is pretty nice.
Oh
Now
yeah.
the scanning software, did that come with it?
Yeah.
Or yeah, okay,
You can
that's it.
you can actually just download it. You don't even have
Yeah.
to have the Cameo just to download
Oh,
it.
cool.
But if you don't have the cutter, it doesn't help. And of course, the other advantage to this too that we should also mention is that for for some modelers, I've heard them talk about how the selling point to this to talk their wife into letting them buy it is that it has all kinds of possibilities for making mugs, t-shirts, all those
Hmm.
kinds of things too.
Scrapbooking stuff.
Uh,
Yeah. Stuff like
right,
that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that I've seen people use is they use them to make their awards for model shows.
Yep.
So
Yep,
that's
that makes
another,
sense.
yeah. So that's
Interesting.
another option that they have as well. So there are a lot of possibilities of things that you can use it with, but so it doesn't just do just this one thing. There, you can put markers in it to draw things, to do t-shirt designs and things like that, to make transfers or whatever. So there are a lot of different options of things that you can use it with, other than just making vinyl mask there.
Yeah. I know guys that do or people, I shouldn't just say guys, but will use it to make silkscreen masks
Oh,
and
Yeah,
interesting.
then build their silkscreen setups with these and it does a great job because
Hmm.
everything's lined up and
Is there a
it's
particular,
less hand cutting.
is
Well,
there a
I used
particular,
to
go ahead,
my
Geoff.
I was gonna say my daughter has a Cricut, which I
Hmm.
guess is kind of
yeah,
the same thing, Brent. And I used it to do first time I ever tried using it to do anything was just to make some reasonably good sized just numbers for the side of a model I was building for
yeah,
my brother. And it worked great. I mean, and I basically I just sort of set it up and printed. I used the cutter on a couple of pieces of Tamiya tape that I taped to the board
Hmm.
that you're supposed to put in,
yeah.
and it worked great. Just worked great. So I definitely I need to make a swastika for my Hindenburg or my Zeppelin, Graf Zeppelin. And of course, you can't get swastikas, and rightfully so. And my daughter refuses to print a swastika for me, which is, I think, rightfully so. So that's my next program, to try to figure out how to do something like that.
I've been reading about these for a while. I haven't really gone into details. For our Canadian listeners, I'm just looking up like through Michael's. They're about 419, and then they vary on Amazon between 348 and 465. Unless you want a pink one, and you pay an extra $100 for that.
Well, it's worth every penny. Worth every penny.
I'll show my wife that one.
It cuts a little differently. Well, I was going to show you here, if you can see on my phone here. So this is a Uhura figure. It's 1/6 scale that I painted. And with this insignia, when they sculpted this is a garage kit done by Blackheart Models. The first ones they did on the insignia, because there are, for those of you that are Star Trek fans, there are different insignias for command, sciences, and medical, and then the security and everything. So when they did this, they did like four models, and they put just the command insignia in all of them. So of course I already had the thing halfway painted before I realized that. So what I did was I filled it in with putty, and then I cut the actual correct design in there. And so that's pretty small. That's pretty tiny, because this was a 1/6 scale.
Right. You'll have to send us some pictures of that and some of your workspace.
Yeah.
And then we'll include it in our show notes for our listeners.
Okay.
Is there any particular preference between Silhouette and Cricut? I know they're the two leading manufacturers.
I've never used the Cricut, so I really couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I may be completely wrong, so not being in the know, but it just seemed, when I looked at the two and I only looked at them online. I should have gone to Michael's and looked at them in person. But it seemed, with the Cricut being a little smaller, that maybe the Cameo was a little heftier. And maybe could stand abuse a little bit more, and I may be completely wrong on that, but that was just that's not based on any reviews or anything. But when I looked at the two, that one just seemed like it was a little bigger chunk of material that could stand up to a little bit more abuse. But I may be
Right. Interesting.
When I got mine, it looked like the silhouettes were more open source, and Cricut was trying to keep too much stuff in their own ecosystem. I think that's changed, though.
But that
I think
definitely
they've
was a complaint that I'd heard too, that Cricut was trying to be a little too Apple-y.
Yeah. So because you want to rely on the community, just like you do for 3D printing and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they're really useful. I've made sheets full of different sized circles, and then like rings and such from the circles. So if I'm masking wheels or something, I just can measure it and look down for a 7mm wheel or whatever.
Right.
Or circle. And then stripes the same way of different sizes. So I can just go to that and peel one off and use it. The advantage over some of the tapes is vinyl's fairly stiff, so it's easier to keep that stripe straight.
True.
And you can peel it off and put it back on until you're ready. Like that NASA P51 I did was all with those stripes and everything.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. So in the 3D world, we have sites like Cults and stuff like that. Is there any similar sites for silhouette cutter owners?
SVGs.
The only ones that I found, I did find a few, Facebook groups and things like that, and they were mostly just not really, model people. They were mostly just
I think I've seen them, the odd model group, vinyl cutter model groups.
Yeah, you can find some stuff on Etsy and such for logos and such, but honestly, the software is pretty easy to use.
Okay.
Yeah, it also allows you to do things like I can show you here, that just cut like a circle, if you want a circle or an oval or a square or whatever, and you can make it whatever size. Of course, this is not wanting to come off now that I'm trying to.
Of course,
always the way. Always the way.
That's why you have to say, "Here's one I did earlier."
Right.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So this way, you can size it to whatever you want. You can make 50 of them if you want, You can make them ovals, you can make them rectangles, you can make them squares, whatever, and it just allows you to freeze draw them however you want.
Right.
So that if you need something where you're doing, you could do windows on, a larger enterprise or something like that. If you wanted to do that, you could use it for whatever. Or you could
Mhm.
even, you could even do something like if you were trying to make a mask for, airplane,
Yeah.
cocktail or
Right.
whatever. You could cut it to the appropriate size. So it is pretty useful as far as being able to just kind of free draw those things. Or if you are better with a mouse than me and you just want to go in and just free draw a design, you can do that as well too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, for like aircraft canopy masks and such, I'm not trying to make those.
Yeah.
I'm buying that stuff and
Yeah.
insignias and such. It's not worth the time to save $8, right?
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Right. Unless you're going to wind up like selling it to 15,000 people.
Yeah, and kid masks, that's what they're doing. That's a ton of
Yeah.
time he puts
Yeah.
together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I was just going to say kit masks, those guys that we met at Heritage
Yeah.
Con, just great.
But the technology, it's the same technology.
Interesting.
It's just a lot of
Probably even the
time.
same units. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really accessible.
Very
Well, it's
cool.
And
I
it's
got to
really
try
very
some of these
easy to
things.
use. Yeah.
You just
But-
have to get one, Geoff.
Part of the problem is I'd get one and then I'd use it 5 times and then I'd get frustrated with it and then I'd probably go off and get something else. And so I don't know. I did really enjoy using my daughters, and so as long as she's paying for it, I'm good
There
with
you go.
that.
There you go. There you go. As long
I
as
mean,
you can
that's
do
the
that.
same as I'm not getting into 3D printing.
No,
I'd
I think
have to find somewhere to put it, and
Well,
it's
that's
one
my
more hobby
problem.
I don't need.
Yeah,
This
that's my
makes
problem.
sense to me. I can do this pretty readily.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'd like one. It's just a matter of right now I don't have the space for it.
Yeah, I
But
keep hearing stories about people buying 3D printers and then they start printing and then they never build and paint anything because they're so busy.
Yeah,
printing. Yeah,
becomes its own
yeah.
hobby.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is its own hobby, definitely.
It's almost like
Definitely.
people who go off and constantly keep buying kits. Like what the hell?
They have a stash. What's with that?
You never do that.
Never. No, none of us do that.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, at our last swap meeting, I came away with far less than what I bought. So, or I sold more than I bought.
Well, you're on a roll though. You come out with a positive net profit from Heritage
Yeah,
Con?
I did. I came out because
Yeah.
thanks to that raffle win, which I
Yeah.
was able to flog for like $90. So the 45 I spent on kits was ended up in profit. Almost paid for the gas to get there.
Well, I've got to start building some of these damn
That's
things.
always good. That's always good. All right. Well, we appreciate that, Brent. Thank you for
Yeah.
enlightening us. It's certainly some new things I've learned. Like I said, please send some pictures along of some of the work and maybe the actual machine and a couple of the examples of how you're doing things.
Okay.
And we'll make sure we add that to our show notes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brent's demo went really well last year at Wonderfest, and we're doing it again this year.
Oh, very
I
good.
think people were very interested. They just want to see it, and that's what
Yeah.
the demo's for.
Yeah. Well, last time what I did was I did one on all different kinds of masking, different kinds of tapes, using silly
Right.
cutters, using all kinds of things. And then once we got to the part where I started talking about the vinyl cutter, that was when the hands started coming up. And so
Mhm.
we sort of said, well, maybe we should just do an entire hour of that since that seems to be what everybody's kind of focused
Very
on.
cool. Very
Well,
cool.
I think it's because a lot of guys have tried different types of masking, but the vinyl cutters, it's a bit of a mystery to a lot of us. So that would be
Yeah.
really useful to have that kind of information. So
Right.
definitely,
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
I love it.
Alrighty. All right, let's pause for a minute for our second sponsor ad, namely Sean's Custom Model Tools. Now we're going to talk a bit about Sean's Custom Model Tools, one of our other sponsors of the Scale Model Podcast. Some very cool things, both 3D printed and the Goodman Super Sanding Blocks. Let's start with the Microset and Microsole decal set bottle stand. This is purposely designed for the microscale set and sole. Most modelers over the years, they've tipped these bottles over. So this is a very handy thing. At $14.95, you can put them both together. They're printed in blue and red for easy identification. Comes with a black base, and they actually have little magnets on it, so it helps keeps them in place. Definitely a good deal. I use mine all the time, and I can well recommend them. Let's talk a bit about those Goodman Model Super Sanding Blocks, namely the Value Pack Combo for $28.99. You get the 80 grit, 180 grit, 220, 320, 400, and 600. Just an amazing set, just what you need. And you can also, if you want, you can also get a super sanding block stand for it, which also really makes life a little bit easier, helps things keep it organized. The other thing too is they have the awesome model tape dispenser for your various tapes. It's basically a 3D printed thing. You put spools of your tapes. It's got a little razor blade to help cut it, and it's really, really good design. So yeah, works out really well, and yours for $19.95. So check out these and other amazing deals at Sean'sCustomModelTools.com, and also on Facebook, and tell them that the Scale Model Podcast sent you. Okay, what's on the bench? This is where we describe what's on the bench. I'm going to start. I got the decals done on the Tamiya 148 Sherman Firefly. That was it. They went on very well. That's all I had time for with my wife, taking care of my wife right now. Geoff?
Yeah, well, it's like I think I mentioned in a pregame that last weekend we had our had 4 of our 6 grandkids visit with us for the weekend, and 3 of them decided that they wanted to take a model out of my stash and build it. How's that?
Cool.
So what that meant was I had to build models for 2 of them.
Of course.
Because they have the attention span of gnats. And so we sat down, and one of them wanted the Revell 1/72 scale PT-109, the old mold kit, which is still a pretty good kit, a lot of fun. And the other one wanted the Revell Nautilus, the first nuclear submarine with a V1 buzz bomb mounted on the stern of all things. And in any event, but she wanted that submarine painted in pink, purple, yellow, and red, with a big red stripe down the middle as a cheat line.
Of course.
So that was kind of my weekend. So I actually had a weekend build times 2. And I now have a PT-109 and a submarine ready to go back to their place this coming weekend.
Look at that. The cool grandfather strikes again.
Yeah, well, it's sort of it's fun. And first time I've ever used Molotow chrome pens.
Oh yeah.
I sort of had one, and I'd never tried it. And the Nautilus mold is from 1959, I think it is. It's so old, and it's of the era where they had the decals sort of outlined. So it's got SSN on the sail, but it's all outlined. So I just took the Molotow chrome pen and just followed the inside of the outline, and I get this beautiful chrome
cool
ship number on it. And obviously not the kind of thing you'd put on a regular submarine, but on a pink submarine, yes, you would put chrome.
Well, once it's underwater, only the fish can see it. So
exactly. But that was kind of fun. And otherwise, it's just been plugging away at a whole bunch of different things. And as I said earlier, I'm working on a Hobbycraft DR1 Fokker triplane, which is just a terrible kit. But there you go. I'm a sucker for terrible kits. So
there you go. Why not? Terry, what about you, my friend?
Not a lot. Not much change. The mess is still a mess back here. It's not a lot of time.
No.
Plenty of yard work now. Spring is springing, and all my native plants are coming up, and I'm doing a little bit of work. Yeah,
I've seen some pictures you posted of various nature type things. Always good.
Always a question: what if I put new stuff in? What survives till the next year?
Right.
The second year, deer have been eating stuff. So
we've had that experience too at the new house in London, the one we picked up last September, because this is our first spring to find out what the hell was in the garden that we only saw when it was all dead and died down. So it's been quite an adventure trying to identify all these things that are popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
The previous owners were gardeners at one point in their lives. So,
Brent, what's on your workbench?
Oh, too many things. So I have not done a lot. As Terry mentioned, with my band, Emerald City Council, the band, just to mention it, includes Jake Libgren, whose uncle was the lead guitarist of Kansas, and Noah Hungate, whose dad was the bass player of Toto.
Cool.
Just phenomenal musicians, and we released the album last year, and it sort of turned into a full-time job. I've actually been doing tons of podcasts and interviews and things like that. This is the first scale modeling thing I've done in a while, because I've been doing rock and roll stuff. But I do have a few things that have been in progress. I've got a big ship from the TV show Ultra 7, which is one of the Ultraman series, uh, that believe it was made by Hasegawa, that I started a while back, that I need to finish. Really, really cool ship. It actually splits into three different parts.
Mm-hmm.
Three ships
wow.
that come together. It's a very cool thing. I've been working on that for a little while. It's called the Ultra Hawk, is the name of the ship. And then also I have a couple of busts. I have a bust of Michael Keaton as Batman with the mask ripped off, like
Cool.
I think at the end of the Batman Returns, I believe. And then I started a while back. I need to get some work on. And then Dracula with Jack Palance playing Dracula, that I started priming and doing some work on, and never really got much further than that. But those are kind of the primary things that are on the bench that need some attention.
Well, Keaton is the best Batman. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. This one was well, both of the figures I mentioned are both sculpted by Geoff Yeager, who is just fantastic, and the likenesses are just incredible. I just need to take the time to sit and finish them. With Wonderfest coming up, I need to probably actually have something painted to put on the display table there. So I probably should
Very
get on
cool. Who is the sculptor again? I'm just adding this to our show notes.
Geoff Yeager.
Geoff Yeager.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, let's go on to what we're reading. I am not reading anything right now. I am completely, by the time it's bedtime, I'm going to sleep. I've actually, no, I shouldn't say that. I found a few old back issues of various hobby magazines and model railway magazines. So I've been kind of touching on those when I get a few minutes here and there. But that's really about it. How about you, Geoff?
yeah, you know what? You stole my thunder. I'm the same. It's just too busy. Just to Terry's point, spring is springing, and there's just an awful lot of yard work to do. And if I'm not doing yard work, I'm too exhausted to focus on reading anyway. But I'm looking forward to putting out a hammock at some point and just reading.
Terry.
I finished Moonseed from
Excellent.
Stephen Baxter. And then looking through the front, I realized how much Stephen Baxter books I've read.
Yep.
I think I like this the best of that trio. I think the main character is the most relatable character, at least to sciencey guys out there. I'm now reading Adam Rutherford's A Brief History of Everyone Who Ever Lived.
Okay.
It's a few years old, but it's really highly regarded. It looks at using the revolution that DNA was and is and continues to be, and looking at the history of our own species and related species.
Interesting.
It is, and I'm only kind of in the very beginning of it right now. So
cool.
Yeah,
very good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Brent, are you a reader?
Yeah, most of the time. The last thing I finished was the autobiography of Geddy Lee from Rush.
Very good choice.
Which I highly recommend. And with knowing some military guys maybe watching this. If you're not familiar with Geddy Lee, his one of the interesting things that it talks about, he goes into great detail about this, is that his parents actually met in some of the concentration camps during the Holocaust. Which is very interesting that this horrible thing was how his parents met and how he really became born. That's kind of a mental thing that you have to kind of deal with it. But his mother actually ended up in the same concentration camp that Anne Frank died in.
Oh
And
my.
so he spends quite a bit of time talking about the history of that and how that works, and then goes into just crazy rock and roll stories from there. But a really great read for sure. Really very much enjoyed it quite a bit. And then I've also been going back and started a while back rereading Salem's Lot, Stephen King, although I haven't gone very far into it. But yeah, getting into that a little bit. Those have kind of been the two primary things.
Very cool. Alrighty. Now, under things we've seen, under the category department of why didn't I think about this, and so I could have made $1 million, we have from a company called Omask, their e-shop. They've got foam masks for things like wheelbase, intakes, stuff like that. What a cool idea. They're out of the Czech Republic. So you can order them from there. So they've got, like, for example, they've got ones for F-15s on their page here, wheelbase. So it includes the main landing gear, the nose wheel, and the 2 intakes. So they're made out of a soft foam. So you just let's say you've done your paint, you just want to mask it off. Boom, boom, boom. It's another way to save time if you want.
Yeah, I have some of these. I have yet to be able to use them, but wow, yeah, it's better than wadded up tissue or silly putty or all these things that
I
work,
cut mine.
but
I cut mine from packing foam. Sort of try to get it.
Yep.
Nothing as good as this, but at least it's sort of close.
Well, I think it's kind of cool. They also do masks and other stuff too, but this is a kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, very cool.
They've got a ton of different aircraft. I can see it definitely in larger aircraft, well, small or large, if you don't want to, But yeah, they've got quite a few out here for all the various scales. So definitely worth checking out, and they're not terribly expensive.
no, they're pretty reasonable for the time savings and the
Exactly, and it comes down to
we've all used paper and stuff and then had to touch up afterward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, alrighty. Then we have ResKit. Oh yeah, Terry. ResKit's got another massive number of new items.
I fired it up yesterday. It's like 174 images. It's like,
we
oh,
cannot
come on,
start
guys.
down this path. Oh my God. We'll go
Don't
insane.
just do it on your own time.
Yeah,
but
it's amazing.
Yeah, if you're working on a project, see what they've got, especially modern stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Looking at this stuff. Oh,
yeah, it just goes on and on and on.
And then, of course, I think I mentioned this last week's Cult TV. The TOS Starship acrylic airbrush from Squadron.
Yeah.
Scale colors. A good set, a good deal. It was on back order.
And of course
they're now in stock now.
Yeah, and of course it's the wrong gray, right?
Well, of course, right.
No matter what
People
gray it is,
say
it's
that.
going to be
It's
the wrong gray.
one.
People will say it's the wrong one. You got Starship Gray 1, 2, or 3. You have a choice. Blue green 1, 2, 3, or 4. Gray green, yellow, gray deep red, gray Starship tan, gray brown. So
I love it.
Everything you need for your TOS Starship Enterprise or Potemkin or whatever.
Yes.
Whatever color you want. It's a good deal.
The Congo.
The Congo.
That's a good price.
Yes.
That's a good price.
Yeah, it's a good price. Squadron scale. They're great acrylic paints. I've heard. You can get the set for $36.99. Our good friends save $7.
I'd be interested to see how they compare to the set that Garage Kit US did.
Yeah, same here. I'm interested. I'll probably pick them up just to see how they work.
Yep. No, I hear they're a good acrylic. They are true acrylics. They'll mix with water. So yeah. Definitely worth checking out.
Yep.
What else we got here? We got Tony's MosquitoCon report.
Yeah, Tony Woodson put together his MosquitoCon report pretty quickly. Good friend Tony.
Yep.
So have a look there. I know Mozon and such. All these European shows happened over the last couple of weeks.
Yep. They're
so
all
just
happening.
Have a look out. Just amazing work from over there. And here's that snapping turtle from before.
Ah, that's what it looks like. Oh, isn't that cute?
There are these odd little kits that come in like these little square plastic boxes, and they all stack together. It's really hilarious.
Yeah, I told you, Geoff, he could kick your butt. He's got like a gun with like 4 rockets in it.
That's nuts. This is fun. This is cute. I like it.
And the last link I put in there is to Emerald City Council's webpage. So check it
Awesome.
out, guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, we definitely will check that.
Oh, look at all these cool guys with glasses.
Beyond.
Wow,
Right.
this is nuts. That's great graphics too. Nice job.
Yeah, I
It's
like
good
the logo.
stuff too. And I see you got your Emerald City Council baseball shirt on, Brent.
Yes.
I like it.
Very good. Very good.
Actually, I'll mention here the hobby tie-in. The logo for Emerald City Council was developed by David Fisher, publisher of Amazing Figure Modeler magazine, and
Nice.
also the mastermind behind the Model Mania DVDs for figure painting, which I highly recommend as like the Bible for garage kit paint for sure.
Very cool. Very cool.
Very cool. Very nice.
Well, we'll have to definitely have you back. Maybe we'll talk figure painting next.
I would like that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, unless anyone else has anything else, we'll do our last word and we'll do our outro as we talked about, where Terry normally does an interesting quip. But for more modeling podcasts,
Don't get your hopes up.
I know. For more modeling podcast goodness, check out the other modeling podcasts at modelpodcast.com. It's a consortium website. All the podcasters I set up for them, and there's links to all the other podcasts. There's something for everyone there. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and our very own website, scalemodelpodcast.com, home of the world's finest. What is it, Geoff? The world's finest what?
Show notes. The world's finest show notes.
Thank you.
If you do say so yourself. Yes.
If I do say so myself.
Such a showboat.
We also do inbox reviews at blackfire.ca, although I've got to get one done soon. It's been a few weeks, but life has been busy. We also have merchandise at Redbubble. So, on behalf of episode 157 of the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
I'm Geoff Highland.
I'm Brent Bristow.
And I'm Terry Measley reminding you to make the cut.
See, look at that. See, that's awesome.
I told
like
you not
that.
to get your hopes up.
I know. That's all right. That's all right. That was good, Terry. Thank you, and be well.